be bit of an impromptu video. This is a response to FreddieBigstar. FreddieBigstar's 1972 thread. And as I'm sure many of you have been following Freddie's year by year take on the best of 70s music. Been meaning to do it. I'm going to definitely do a response to 74 because that's the year I was born. But just saw Freddie's new upload on 72 and thought, hell, just go for it. So this is my response. And by the way, happy 40th to Freddie. He mentioned his birthday is soon. I can't remember exactly, but he will be 40 soon. So happy 40th in advance. Okay, starting off. I'm starting off with a couple of CDs. This album came out when this was released in 72. Didn't get much attention. Sold very few copies, but has gone on to, as with all of Nick Drake's work, has gone on to be hugely influential over the years. That is Pink Moon. This was actually the very first album I listened to by him sometime in the late 90s. And for those of you who are familiar with this album, this is a rather heavy introduction. Yeah, this was recorded when he was in the depths of depression, and it's a very good indication of or you know, what was going through his head at the time, and not a cheerful album at all by any means, but it is absolutely fantastic. A very harrowing listen, and not an easy listen, but and as I said, largely ignored on its release, but you know, has rightly gone on to be hailed as a classic. That is Pink Moon by Nick Drake. Starting off with another CD, and this is the last CD. This was shown by Fred, a vinyl copy, and this is Noi, self-titled debut album. What can you say about this? Just an album so ahead of its time, and a band so ahead of their time. Just went on to influence so, and again, largely kind of ignored on its initial release, but you know, over the years has just gone on to influence so many other acts, and that is Noi. And this is a reissue on Groenland, I think, from the early noughties. Okay, so now onto the vinyl. This is the vinyl community after all. 1972. Yeah, so one album that certainly wasn't ignored on its release, and that is Roxy Music's self-titled debut. So the album which introduced the world to the two Brians. Is it stuck together? Yeah, the two Brians, Brian Eno and Brian Ferry. And yeah, what can you say about this album? Just this, you know, call it glam rock, you can call it art rock, whatever you want, but again, hugely influential album, and definitely, you know, definitely up there in the list of best albums released in the year 1972. So and it would not be the last we'd hear of Mr. Brian Eno. This is an album which I left out of my recent krautrock uh, video because this copy that I have isn't an original, but actually Gormo, his current video is actually on the subject of this album, so I suggest everybody have a look at that because he does a very interesting in-depth analysis of this album, and that is Zeit by Tangerine Dream. This is an 80s reissue, a Spanish reissue, but yeah, so this is just a monster album. It's basically it's just a meditation on the vastness of space and the smallness of us here on Earth and in the vastness of the universe. Absolute monster of an album. And it's Light by Tangerine Dream, and I'm pretty sure it came out in '72. Yeah, not '71. No. Sorry, I didn't really research that beforehand, but I'm pretty certain it came out in '72. Okay, this album, I featured this in my krautrock update, and so I won't say too much about it, but Amundul 2, Carnival in Babylon, a bit of a change in direction from their previous work. It sees them going off in a slightly more, I wouldn't say commercial, but slightly more song based. You'd shorter songs and kind of more of a slightly conventional kind of a thing. But I think this could be said to be their last really great album. I mean, they did good albums after this, but it's kind of arguably their last kind of masterpiece, I think. But anyway, some may disagree with me, but okay. 1972, the year is synonymous with this album and this performer, and of course, an obvious choice, I know, but I just felt I had to include this. That is David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Sadly left us this year. Yeah, it's just, again a game changer of an album. It's just kind of I don't think there's much that I can add about this album. Only that okay. So I won't add anything more. Moving on, another album with a Bowie influence, and Bowie was just all over the place on everything in '72, and that is Lou Reed, Transformer. Freddie's already shown this one, so I suppose I probably don't need to say too much about this either. But yeah, I think this was probably my earliest. Well, I suppose probably with a lot of people, my earliest introduction to Lou Reed solo stuff. Yeah, and produced by David Bowie, of course, and slight change of direction now. Blaxploitation movie genre. Don't have many blaxploitation movie soundtracks. You don't generally tend to come across them a lot here, but this is one that I picked up a few years ago, and this is by the one and only Marvin Gaye, and it is the soundtrack to a movie called Trouble Man, which I'll have to admit I've never seen. Now, I mean, the thing with blaxploitation movies is a lot of the time the soundtracks were better than the movies themselves. So, yeah, this is rather unusual in that there's very, very little featuring of Marvin Gaye's voice on this. Vocals, vocals are pretty limited. It's largely an instrumental album, and it's kind of at odds with the majority of blaxploitation movie soundtracks in that this is kind of a jazzier. There's yeah, there's a heavy use of synthesizer, which is played by Marvin Gaye himself. So there's a kind of a loungy kind of jazzy kind of feel. So yeah, so definitely, yeah, it kind of stands out from a lot of similar, a lot of blaxploitation movie soundtracks, I think, which tend to be kind of more heavily funk based. But yeah, I was trying to think what else to put in this thread, and I picked this. I don't have much Keith Jarrett, so I'm not sure how this compares generally in his wider. But I do like this album. Facing You, Keith Jarrett piano, on ECM. Not sure if this is an original or not. I've never been quite able to figure that out. But anyway, yeah, it's Keith Jarrett doing what he does best, basically. Solo piano, and he does very well. So yeah, so I'll finish up with a band who get a bit of stick on the VC, and I know Fred, you're a fan of this band as well, and that is Steely Dan. Their debut album, Can't Buy a Thrill. A lot of people don't like them on the VC, but I've always liked the Dan, and I love this album. Really in the Years, and Do It Again. Yeah, it's a great album. Great, love this album. Okay, so that was 10, wasn't it? Yeah, I think so. I haven't been yeah, I counted them beforehand, but correct me if I'm wrong. So that was my 1972 thread. May do a few more responses as Freddie's series continues. Definitely going to do 74, as I said. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and hope you all have a great weekend.